our 6th seed, Kavin Tangtartharakul versus our 4th seed, Brendyn Dunagan. Competitors, this is the best 3 out of 5 first to 2 sets. There is a 30-second set break in between each set. You are each allocated 1 2-minute timeout during your solve possession. Brendyn, as the higher seed, are you picking heads or tails?
Heads.
All right, heads. It is tails. Kavin, would you like to go first or second?
First.
All right, go ahead to the solving station. Brendyn, to the bench.
San Diego, broadcasting on Speedcubing TV's YouTube channel. We are here in losers quarterfinals. Kavin Tangtartharakul versus Brendyn Dunagan. Brendyn getting knocked down to this losers bracket by the one and only Timon Koloshinsky. And Kavin starting top 8 in the losers side, winning his match earlier against Josh Jushin Choi to find himself in this position. The loser of this one goes home. They will be out at a valiant 5th place position, but 5th place is not 1st place, and both of these guys looking to be making a loser's run. Reminder, everyone, Kavin is a ROUX solver, so you're going to see stuff that's very different from what Brendyn is going to be pulling out. What is he going to do here? It looks like there was a 1x2 that was already there to start off with. Not sure if he ended up using that or not. Bit of an odd first block start, and 7.91 okay by the judge, and that's going to be our starting time. First solve done in this losers quarterfinal match.
A respectable solve from Kavin there. 7.9, probably not going to be good enough to beat Brendyn, but you never know. Obviously, using that ROUX method, it was a pretty clean solve, but just not quite turning fast enough or recognizing his cases fast enough.
Bendy with a couple good solves in his set against Timon earlier. Kind of just needs to hold his nerve a little bit, and he should be good to go. There's the PLL now, 7.010. So 2 7s back-to-back, but advantage Bendy as we start things off.
Getting an EPUM at the end of the solve there, choosing to use the RUD version, having a few lockups as well. So not the cleanest execution, but clean enough to win that solve.
Ready?
And a solid start for Brendyn.
Ready.
And yeah, a bit of a weird start it looked like for Kavin last time. Looks like he kind of messed up on an F move as he went to solve his first block. Let's see what he's going to do here. You can see he's using a lot of wide moves. That's the main tool that ROUX used to orient pieces, but looks like his second block was not quite done, or perhaps misoriented, perhaps. 11.59. That's a pretty disastrous solve, and you have to think Brendyn is going to take this one.
Yeah, as you said, making a mistake in that second block. The edge in the back was not solved, and after he did CMLL, he realized that, and it was kind of all over at that point. So a bit of a shame on that solve, but he'll have to shake it off and hope for better on the next one.
Perhaps lucky for Bendy here, because he doesn't really need to go all out. He can kind of just take his time, but he's choosing to show us a ZBLL. Show us what he's capable of. That should have been a sub-6 solve, 607 with a botched timely stack.
Yeah, Brendyn disappointed as the ZBLL he got there. Anti-soon into back anti-soon is one of the easiest ones you can get. And really, I think he was probably hoping for a sub-5 there. But the lockups and the timer stop kind of cost him a great time there. Still
unfortunate, but on the bright side, it didn't really end up mattering because Kavin, unfortunately, with an 11-second solve on that second one, he's got his back against this wall on this very first set. A very long CMLL, it looked like. 885. Overall solid, but you have to think that Bendy's going to end up sweeping this one.
Yeah, not a great solve there from Kavin. He's going to have to really step it up in the next set, assuming Brendyn takes this solve here. But anything's possible, and maybe that poor execution on the last solve could throw off Brendyn.
Yeah, let's see. Bendy, he's turning pretty fast, so it is possible to lock up, but a 588, he came to play. It doesn't matter what the opponent is getting, because Bendy is going to beat it regardless. 3-0 this first set. And, you know, Bendy back in the seat to start set 2. He's got to be feeling real good about his performance, especially those last 2 solves.
Yeah, that solve there, a little bit lucky, but getting a very nice ZBL place and executed pretty well to give himself a sub 6 solve. Let's have a closer look at this solve. Doing a yellow cross rotation for first pair. Lock up there as he rotates to do diag pairs actually. Going into the ZBL there, a little lock up, but still a sub 6. That ZBL is only around 8 moves long, so as long as you recognize it quickly, it's going to lead to a very fast last layer, and hopefully a very fast solve by Kavin.
It's amazing how many algorithms these guys know. I mean, Bendy is a pretty new solver in the grand scheme of things, and he's just showing off ZB and making it look absolutely effortless. An amazing solver to go up against. Definitely, we're very proud to have him here in Southern California. Getting things started now for the second set. Looks like he had really fast first 2 or 3 pairs. And now there's the PLL 667. A very solid solve from Bendy.
Yeah, nothing really to complain about there. Just a pretty standard solve and definitely going to be good enough to really make Kavin sweat there. Kavin's going to need to get a pretty solid time for him to take a solve here. And yeah, a great start to the set for Brendyn.
Kavin's gonna need to get something particularly good. Either get really lucky with some blocks, if he can get those to start off with. Didn't look like there was much on the scramble from what I could tell. And yeah, from here, I don't really see a lot. Maybe there's a 1x2 by 1, maybe. But he's gonna need to get something magical on the second half of the solve then. And he's already pausing way too much. This solve is as good as over. Yeah, 10 seconds in, and now we're getting to... I mean, L6E ended up being pretty fast, but just not good enough. 667, just tough to beat.
Yeah, ROUX planning those blocks and executing them is very difficult. I can't do it. I couldn't be a 10 with ROUX. So seeing him throw down these times is very impressive. A lot of potential for that method, but it requires some really deep inspection and some quite creative solutions at the start of the solve.
Indeed, yeah, almost more like FMC to some extent. Here's Bendy now, solve number 2. Looking to much lockier, unfortunately, not quite able to get as good cases. It looked like he did some kind of... His last layer was certainly interesting. He gets a 9-point win.
Yes, I think he did the wrong OLL out, but then gave himself a pretty easy ZBLL after that. I think actually the same ZBLL, he got in a 5.8 just a few solves prior. So kind of saved him a bit there, and a 9.1, not terrible.
8 seconds.
Not terrible, but let's see what Kavin can do. If he can avoid some of those critical mistakes from earlier in this set, this should be a beatable solve for him. And yeah, this is looking much better. 7.8, so we're tied up now in set number 2. Kavin needs to win the set to survive, and he's giving himself a better chance here.
Yeah, great solve from Kavin, taking his first solve against Brendyn Dunagan. That's going to feel good, at least to get one solve on the board. And hey, maybe you can pick up some momentum from there.
Hey, everyone in chat, stop clowning on Chris Mills, all right? Like, just because he said ZBLL doesn't mean that, you know, he's not one of the greatest to ever do it. Here's Bendy now. It looks like he had an 6.10. Bendy not messing around either. He wants to get this over with.
Yeah, choosing not to force himself a ZBLL on that solve and just doing classic OLL into an A-perm. A clean solve, a low 6 with a Y2 there near the start of F2L. Yeah, just doing anti-soon into an A-perm. A little bit locky, but a 6.1. That's going to be all he needs.
8 seconds.
Yeah, it's tough to see Kavin beat something like 6.1. As Chris had mentioned earlier, ROUX is a much more consistent method. So even though there's fewer moves, you do need to kind of get like really lucky, and that's just not possible for ROUX. 8.41, a bit of a box trying to stop there too, but it did not really matter as Bendy is up 2-1.
Looked like Kavin got a bit of a skip at the end of LSE that did not look like he was expecting to have solved that cube so quickly, leading to the kind of rush timer stop, forgetting to get his thumbs down on the 4-pad mode there as well. So yeah, gonna lose that solve, unfortunately.
Bendy here, looks like if he wins this one, he can go ahead and win the entire match. And a very solid solve, 5.61. He's got to feel good about this. Great solving from Bendy in these last 2 sets.
Yeah, Brendyn solving extremely consistent, just 5s and low 6s all over the shot. If he continues to solve like this once he moves into his next match, which will be against Luke Greisel or Varun again, then yeah, we could see him maybe make a bit of an upset.
Certainly, he's putting himself in really good position to really contend for that 3rd place spot. Kavin now to stay alive, and it's not going to happen for him. It's 8.71. That's match point, and that is the match. Brendyn Dunagan wins this one, 2-0.
And our winner for this match, Brendyn Dunagan!